Hey everyone, well, happy Friday. We are just wrapping up a long but wonderful week back here in Albuquerque and crisscrossing our district. We've been visiting our communities. We visited with Sandia Pueblo, the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center, the Carnival Land Grant, the city of Albuquerque, many of our city's important cultural institutions, including the Museum of Albuquerque, the archives at the Southwest Research Center, UNM, the Biopark, our national labs, and so much more. And we've been talking to local business leaders, to local leaders and tribal leaders, and to people all across the community about the issues that they care about, celebrating the wins that we've had in securing millions of dollars for early childhood education, for healthcare programs, for projects that help to enhance and develop our local economic security and invest in local businesses, and of course the work ahead, including visiting our beautiful public lands and our watershed from the top of the Sandias to the devastatingly dry riverbed of the Rio Grande, and talking about what that means for the future of our state and for our communities. And every single day we are so grateful for the opportunity to represent and work alongside New Mexico's amazing and resilient communities, and we're so excited to recommit to that fight every single day. And along those lines, one of the biggest fights that we're facing right now is dramatic cuts to the social programs that underpin so many of our communities. So I want to take a moment today to talk about Social Security. Some of you may have heard that the Social Security Administration rolled out new policy changes that may make it more difficult for our seniors and people living with disabilities to access Social Security. And the billionaire Treasury Secretary for Donald Trump actually said this week that a new initiative that they put in the big ugly bill to create baby bonds was put there as a backdoor to privatize Social Security. Well, that is exactly why myself and John Larson, who's the ranking member of the Social Security Subcommittee on Ways and Means, filed the Hands Off Our Social Security Act right before we left for the August recess. That bill would stop the privatization of Social Security. It would stop the stealing of your Social Security data. It would stop the closure of offices. It would stop the firing of federal employees who serve our seniors and people with disabilities day in and day out. And it would protect that promise and that public trust to ensure that Social Security is there for future generations. So we'll post more information below about our Hands Off Our Social Security Act. But in addition to all of the other things that are under attack right now, we also wanted to give you an update on redistricting, because this week, the state of Texas, just as we've been discussing over the last several days, issued new maps for the state's congressional districts. And just as Donald Trump and his cronies asked the state of Texas to do, it would gerrymander and redistrict 5 congressional seats so that Democrats would lose those seats in Texas. Now, why should anyone care about this outside of the state of Texas? I mean, first of all, it's illegal. They're breaking the law and the Voting Rights Act, and it will go in front of the courts. But it also is an attempt to try to rig the 2026 election. And the reason why you should care about this and why it's so vital that all of us fight back against these gerrymandering and redistricting attempts by Trump and Republican-controlled districts in the middle of the decade, which is also highly unusual, is that they are trying to steal the House election next year, in which they know that they will lose because of their historically unpopular bill that they just passed, stealing our healthcare, food assistance, educational assistance, and so many programs that make it possible for our communities to thrive and to live their lives with dignity. So we are going to continue to fight back against this redistricting and gerrymandering attempt at the federal level, and over the coming days we'll also be talking to many of New Mexico's frontline leaders who've been leading the charge to protect the vote here in New Mexico. So on that note, we will be here all month in New Mexico. We're very excited to be back home. We'll be celebrating with our communities. We'll be at Santo Domingo Feast Day on Monday for the National Night Out. We'll be in parks just like this all across the city. We'll be crisscrossing the district. We're going to be out in Santa Rosa, down south, in many of our communities in the southern part of the state, up in Rio Rancho and Sandoval County, and Corrales and Bernalillo. We're going to be celebrating back to school, doing town halls for our seniors, and of course, continuing to work with our communities to lift up and to solve many of the most difficult challenges that our communities are facing, whether that's the behavioral health crisis, helping our hospitals and clinics and healthcare providers survive these difficult times, or it's protecting the lands and waters that have sustained the cultures and people of New Mexico for countless generations. So that is the work ahead. We're excited to be home. Come out and say hi, and we look forward to seeing you in the coming days. But until then, I hope you all have a happy Friday and a great weekend.